Time now for the markets with Leighton. You say there's some difference of opinion on where cotton prices are going?
That's right, Artis. Is the bottom in for cotton, or could there be additional slide? And other stories coming up here as well. Another step is taken towards opening a new export market for U.S. rice. A trader outlines his game plan if and when there's a bounce in corn prices. And the cattle on feed report contains a surprise. We begin in cotton, where Extension's OA Cleveland says there is a bottom now for prices. And Georgia Extension's William Don Shirley concurs there is support in the cotton market now. However, on the other side is U.S. Commodities' Don Roos. He's not so sure the 61-cent range will hold for cotton. However, Don told Market to Market he does like the recent drop in world ending stocks.
It wasn't because of the demand picked up. It was more from production came down in India, China, Pakistan. So those areas, but the growth area is really Vietnam. They're up 50% on their demand in 4 years. But cotton looks much like the other grains, probably a market that wants to sink down to closer to 55.
Well, a big step towards China beginning to import U.S. rice has been taken. Delta Farm Press reports U.S. and Chinese officials appear to have reached an agreement on the protocol for the shipment of American-grown milled rice into Chinese ports. If there are no interruptions in forthcoming inspections, imports could be permitted by early spring of this year, this according to the Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Well, this week, the U.S. dollar is weaker and was not able to provide any support to the corn market. A weather scare may be the best opportunity for a price bounce in the future. Analyst Don Huber says if that happens, it's time to be aggressive with your corn marketing.
You know, if it is going to be a weather situation that drives prices, you know, this period between now and April, May, I mean, there's really not that many factors that can make that happen. Yeah, on the other side of the coin, you've got the strong dollar that continues to be the arch nemesis of almost all commodities here at this point. So realistically, yes, I think you market it on that push up. You know, let's say ideally close to $3.80 on nearby corn, maybe close to $4 on the new crop corn. Recognizing though that, you know, just because you sold today doesn't mean your marketing job is done. You know, there are many tools you can use after that sale.
Let's break for our trivia quiz now on Farm Week. Here's the quiz question. How many steps are involved in harvesting peanuts? Is the answer 1, 2, 3, or 4 steps? You stay with us, we'll give you the right answer. From all indications, the cattle markets are still volatile as we begin to wind up the month of January. Case in point is the surprise in the recent cattle on feed report. Brian Williams has some analysis of what the latest numbers from the beef sector and the cattle on feed report mean. The placement into feedlots number, that was a little bit larger than the trade expected?
Yeah, they were coming into the report, they were expecting placements to be down a little over 5%, but when the numbers came in, they were only down about 0.8%.
So it sounds like that was indeed kind of a surprise to the trade.
It was a big surprise to a lot of the analysts. The number actually came in 2% below even the lowest or even the highest analyst expectation. But really, when you look at it, it's not all that surprising because we'd been talking about for a while that producers were keeping those cattle on pasture. And then looking at December, we saw a spike in the prices. So it looks like a lot of producers just decided to unload those cattle that they'd been hanging on to for a while, and that showed up in the placements number.
Well, let me ask you about the marketing's figure. It seemed like that was kind of the other way around. The pre-report guesses were looking for some larger numbers.
Yeah, they were looking for about 1.9% increase in marketings, and we ended up with only a 1.2% increase. So it was a little bit lower than expected, but still not too far off.
All right, and total number of cattle on feed, how did that stack up?
Total on feed, we were down about 0.5%, and what we were expecting was to be down about 1.2%.
Now, the same day that those numbers came out, we had the cold storage report come out, and understand the beef volume was pretty high, the amount of beef in cold storage.
Yeah, we have 16% more beef in cold storage right now than we did a year ago. What we are seeing, though, is a trend of we did have a lot more than that in cold storage, and we're seeing kind of we're eating into some of that storage. So it's while we're higher than a year ago, it's still not necessarily a bad thing.
And final question, would you say that this amount of beef that's in cold storage, is that largely due in part to the high retail prices of beef?
I think it is not necessarily the retail prices we're seeing now, but the retail prices we saw over the summer and through much of 2015 that really caused those stocks to pile up. And now we're starting to eat into those stocks as those retail prices have come down just a little bit.
More eggs were produced in the state of Mississippi in December. According to the Ag Statistics Service, egg production totaled 121 million. That's an increase of 2.5% from a year ago. The number of layers topped 5.5 million, also an increase. And egg production per 100 layers averaged over 2,100 eggs. About 30 miles east of Waynesboro, Mississippi in southwest Alabama, an existing OSB mill is expanding and bringing an additional market for timber. Louisiana Pacific is adding a fire-rated oriented strand board sheathing line in Clark County, Alabama. The mill has been in operation 9 years and employs over 160 workers. The new OSB product will be for single-family, multifamily, and construction markets. And back to trivia now as we wrap things up in the markets for this week. The right answer is B. There are 2 steps in peanut harvesting: digging and combining.